Imagine waking up to find that your favorite celebrity or business mogul, someone whose life you've admired from afar, doesn't pay taxes the same way you do. Shocking, right? But here's the real kicker. They're doing it completely legally. What if I told you that the ultra-wealthy, people worth billions, are using hidden tactics and loopholes to avoid paying millions in taxes every single year? They call it financial planning, but for the rest of us, it's tax evasion. How do they get away with it? What if I told you that, in some cases, they don't just avoid taxes, they pay zero in taxes? Stay with me, because what you're about to hear might just change the way you view the entire system. To understand how the richest 1% legally avoid paying their dues, we need to look at a web of loopholes buried deep within the tax code, a web they helped weave. Let's break it down. Have you ever heard of the phrase, "It's not how much you make, it's how much you keep"? That's the golden rule for the ultra-rich. Through complex strategies, from offshoring their wealth to exploiting trusts and charities, these individuals find ways to reduce their tax liability to the bare minimum, sometimes even to zero. One of the most famous examples is the carried interest loophole. Ever heard of it? No? Well, unless you're a hedge fund manager, you probably wouldn't have. This loophole allows investment managers to categorize their income as capital gains instead of regular income, meaning they get taxed at a much lower rate, a fraction of what you'd pay on your regular paycheck. Billionaire hedge fund managers pay less in taxes than their secretaries, and it's 100% legal. But that's just the beginning. Let's talk about offshore accounts and shell companies. These strategies are straight out of a spy thriller, except they aren't fiction. They're everyday tactics for the wealthy. Picture this. A celebrity or CEO with an army of accountants and lawyers sets up an account in a country like the Cayman Islands, or a trust fund in the British Virgin Islands. Why there? These are tax havens, places where the tax rates are either very low or non-existent. These countries aren't just beautiful vacation spots, they're where billions of dollars go to disappear from tax obligations. So, how do they pull this off? They create shell companies, essentially empty businesses that exist only on paper. Through these entities, the rich hide their wealth overseas, beyond the reach of their home country's tax laws. It's so sophisticated and secretive that even the IRS struggles to trace the money. Now let's talk about something that might surprise you: philanthropy. That's right, when you see billionaires donating millions to charity, it's easy to assume they're simply being generous. But, as always, the story is a bit more complicated. Donating to charity is a great thing, right? And it is. But for some billionaires, charitable foundations can act as another tool for tax avoidance. By putting their money into private foundations or donor-advised funds, they can take huge tax deductions while still controlling where the money goes. They get to look like heroes, while keeping the money tied up in their own causes. Some even use these foundations to pay family members' salaries or invest in assets like artwork that stays in their homes. So, while it may look like they're giving back, they're also getting a very big financial benefit. And who foots the bill for their generosity? You, the taxpayer. Okay, now it's time for the big one: stocks. This is where things get really tricky. Many of the ultra-wealthy don't make their money from a regular salary. No, most of their wealth comes from investments, stocks, real estate, companies they own. And here's the secret: they don't pay taxes on this wealth until they sell it. As long as they don't sell, they can watch their wealth grow without paying a cent in taxes. This is known as unrealized gains. But here's the genius move. Instead of selling their stock and triggering taxes, they can simply borrow against their stock. They take out massive loans at incredibly low interest rates using their stock as collateral. This gives them access to billions in cash without ever having to sell a single share, and, crucially, without having to pay taxes on it. It's a loophole so effective that some of the richest people on Earth live off loans while their wealth continues to skyrocket. Now you might be thinking, how is this even possible? Why aren't governments cracking down on this? Well, here's the thing. Many of these loopholes are baked into the system, designed by people who understand the tax code better than anyone else, because they helped write it. In fact, many billionaires hire lobbyists to push for tax laws that favor them. Politicians and lawmakers often turn a blind eye, or worse, they're complicit in maintaining a system that benefits their wealthy donors. So, while you're working hard and paying taxes on every dollar you earn, the wealthiest people are playing by an entirely different set of rules. So, where does this leave us? The truth is, the system isn't just broken, it's rigged. But awareness is the first step to change. Now that you know how the game is played, it's time to demand better. Share this video with friends and family. Leave a comment below with your thoughts. Do you think these loopholes should be closed, or is it just smart financial planning? And if you want more deep dives into how the world really works, hit that subscribe button. Remember, knowledge is power, but only if you use it.